Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Counselor Advocacy for the Jewish University Experience Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions that's happening this afternoon, so be sure to sign up for more. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at strivescan.com/Jewish Student Fair. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters, and we'll get started with Muhlenberg College.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. So glad to have you with us. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, it is sunny and hot, but hopefully wherever you are cool and comfortable. So my name is Melissa Falk. I am representing Muhlenberg College, which has a student community of about 2,000 students. We're located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is 90 miles west of New York City, 60 miles north of Philadelphia, and we're in the West End area of the city of Allentown, which is about 120,000 people. We really pride ourselves in our community, and hopefully you will have the chance to visit us in person and experience it yourself. But the sense of welcome, the sense of warmth, and the sense of inclusivity is pretty obvious from the first moment you interact with any one of our students, faculty, or staff. And it really translates in the way that we all interact with one another, but very particularly in terms of the kind of responsibility that students feel to one another and the community at large. One of the traditions at the college that really exemplifies our sense of community is the fact that we hold doors open for one another, literally and figuratively speaking. So if you're visiting us, don't be surprised if somebody holds a door open, even for an extraordinarily long amount of time that is unexpected, because they want to make sure that you feel welcome, included, and certainly, certainly feeling like you're part of our community. The other ways in which the community really demonstrates itself is the kinds of interactions that our students have with faculty. Faculty are inspiring teachers, they're dedicated, they're devoted, but they're mentors more than anything else. And so they're going to be people that challenge, that encourage, that support our students in all of their endeavors, both inside and outside the classroom. It's not uncommon for faculty to work with students collaboratively in terms of research and be published co-authors. It's not uncommon for them to collaborate in the labs, and certainly in the classrooms, as well as the arts and creative spaces on campus. The other piece that's really common about our students is there's a yes and mentality. Our students are constantly moving, constantly doing, and constantly asking us questions about how it is that they can really implement, innovate, and make changes, not only to the experience here at the college that really enhance their experiences, but how can they actually implement changes and initiatives that affect the world at large. We've got 120 clubs and organizations. Our students man 22 intercollegiate sports. We're part of the Centennial Conference, and we're Division III. For those of you who might follow Division III football, in the fall of 2019, Muhlenberg was a top 4 national team for football, and then COVID hit, and last year we didn't have a football season, but just you wait for 2021. We're very excited for that to happen. The other piece too is ultimately we want to make sure that our students have as many choices as possible post-graduation. So this entire experience on an undergraduate level really translates to choices in terms of graduate programs, professional programs, job, profession, career. One of the things you're going to find is that our students really take advantage of a really active career center. Specifically, they get connected early on to our tens of thousands of Muhlenberg alums that are out there in the Muhlenberg Alumni Network that really allows our students to have opportunities to shadow, to have informational interviews, to have mentorship professionally, to help them figure out what's the next step and how do they take advantage of the Muhlenberg experience to get there. Our Career Center is very active with our students at the onset of their experience once they start. And one of the other pieces you'll see is that our outcomes are incredibly strong, belied by the fact that we have many academic partnerships with graduate programs in medicine, law, public health, management, finance, as well as engineering. And so those are pathways that our students have had the opportunity to take advantage of once they arrive here on campus, or in some cases prior to arriving on campus, in terms of some of the early assurance programs in dentistry, as well as optometry, that allow our students to make some of those choices even before they arrive on campus. We want to make sure that we provide our students with the strongest possible opportunities for those kinds of choices post-graduation. So what's new at Muhlenberg these days? Well, what's new is tomorrow we're about to graduate our class of 2021. We've ended our spring semester. We've invited all our students back to be in residence this spring and have announced that we will be in residence in person on campus living full life this upcoming fall. And we're very excited about that. Other new things on campus include the fact that we literally just broke ground on a brand new building that will be finished in the fall of 2022. The building itself will be a Gold LEED certified building. It's also part of the Living Building Challenge. We're one of 20 buildings in the world to have this certification. But the building itself is actually going to house the Department of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, which is part of our business program, as well as the Office of Community Engagement, as well as our nationally recognized polling institute, which is Muhlenberg College Institute for Public Opinion. And so we're really excited that while there is dirt and mess and bulldozers on campus right now, there's a lot of exciting things that are afoot that are coming very soon to campus. The other new announcement I have is the fact that Muhlenberg has just announced that we have a 4+1 Master in Applied Analytics. We are a fully undergraduate institution. We have a couple of graduate programs that are through our continuing education division. And as a result, there's an opportunity for students at the undergrad level with a 4 years plus 1 year can get a master's in applied analytics, direct pathways in computer science and mathematics, but all academic programs certainly can be part of that. Finally, since you're all here as part of a Jewish Students Fair, I wanted to make sure that you understood what Jewish life is like at Muhlenberg as well. We have the Lafel Center for Jewish Life, which houses our Hillel organization, which is one of the largest student organizations at Muhlenberg. We're very proud of that. We've got integrated kosher dining with 2 separately supervised kitchens, meat and dairy, in our main dining hall. So it's for all of our students, and it is part of the meal plan specifically. We actually don't hold class on Yom Kippur at Muhlenberg, and so there are no classes held whatsoever. In addition to which, we have the great advantage of being close to a lot of the Jewish community resources in Allentown. The Reform Synagogue looks like it's part of our campus. There's a modern Orthodox shul 2 blocks north. The Lehigh Valley JCC is 4 blocks north of campus, and 4 blocks north of that is actually a Jewish day school, which is pre-K through 8. So lots of community resources in terms of students' ability to be able to live Jewishly while they're here as well. And on that note, I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa. Our next presentation comes to us from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And you are muted.
Hi, my name is Toby Karakesh, and I am the Director of Partnerships at the Hebrew University. I'm going to run through a bunch of our programs, but predominantly today, I'm going to speak about our study abroad programs for freshmen. So we have 3 different options, 3 different tracks that you could do as a freshman student. The first is our Mechina program. The Mechina program is for students who are interested in possibly pursuing a degree program in Israel. It is a preparatory year. It is for students who did not graduate from a high school in Israel and want to continue studying in Israel. And predominantly the main focus there is Hebrew and any background that you might need in order to pursue a degree. There are 2 different tracks. There's a humanities track, and there's also a science track. The other program that we have that is more of like a gap year program, but is really also a first year of college program of university, is our first year or first semester of study abroad. This can be for first year students. This can be a program for students who are interested, who maybe were deferred from their university or want to take a year or a semester before entering their 4-year degree and kind of explore what academia is like and academic life is like, but also do it in Israel and have kind of a blend of academics, but also have more of an experiential Israel experience. The other element of this program is that for students who maybe aren't sure or want a year before they apply to their home university in the US, there are options for guidance towards transferring. So if you didn't get into your first choice or you want to reapply, we can help you with that, and you can complete up to 35 credits here at Hebrew University. And the final gap year program that we offer is called STEAM for Change. STEAM for Change is a STEAM program primarily focusing on coding. You are essentially taught how to code in a high-tech company, and then you continue working on a high-tech team with Israelis, both in Hebrew and in English, and you continue working on this team and produce technology that is what's called impact tech. So it meets some type of social need and broader sector. I'm going to skip through the real details of each program. People can feel really welcome to contact me independently, but I do want to say that we do have options for study of both modern Hebrew and Arabic. I also want to say, as far as the Hebrew University and student life and our classes, since April of this year, we have been back live in person. The vaccination rate in Israel, as I'm sure many of you have heard, has been quite high. And so we've been back in person. We have been able to offer our students trips and tours and live instruction. We did run a semester and a year program also for study abroad students this past year. We had over 200 students visiting us internationally from around the world, including 90 from the US this past semester. So we are open and running open for business and running. These are the dorms that you would live in on campus. They're apartment style living, with each person having their own room and a suite with a shared kitchen. There are kosher apartments available, but people can choose and opt into what they would want. We do not have a meal plan, but there are kitchens and there are kosher eateries on campus available for students. We have very generous financial aid and scholarships available. If you're the child of an alum of the university, either the Rothberg program or the university itself, you could be eligible for that scholarship. We have needs-based financial aid up to $4,000 a semester. We are MASA, if you've heard of it, we are a MASA eligible program, and we have regional scholarships. We've also instituted a pandemic mobility scholarship fund, and that is basically to support students who are looking for additional funding to study abroad and come join us at Hebrew U. And it's pretty generous funding. So if you are looking to afford your semester abroad at the university, certainly at the Hebrew University, please speak to us. And all of this, we have programs. I focus primarily on the first year programs, but we of course have typical study abroad, traditional study abroad experiences in music, in dance, in arts, and in regular humanities and sciences across the spectrum. And we hope that we will be able to welcome you soon to our campus. And I too am going to pass it on to the next speaker.
Great. Thank you so much. Our next presentation this afternoon comes to us from Babson College.
Hi, everyone. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen really quick. All right. I hope that's working. My name is Carly Ryan, and I am here to talk about Babson College today. We are located in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And thanks again for taking the time to learn about Babson and some other really great institutions here. So I'll jump right in. Babson is number one for entrepreneurship for 23 years and counting. So we are a business school. Here at Babson, we have one major that we have for our students. So we don't really have the traditional majors and minors like you would have at other schools. But all of our students will graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Business. There are ways to customize that program, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But business is something that we do really, really well here. Our students are prepared for the outside world right upon graduation and during their time at Babson. A little bit about our location as well. We are located 10 miles south in the city of Boston, and our campus is beautiful. We have a lovely New England campus all gated in for our students. So we have the quiet campus life, but also the hustling and bustling city right there. This just goes over our class profile a bit. We have about 600 students per grade. So on the smaller side of a school, about 2,400 overall students. We are, as you can see at the bottom, our test scores are listed out for the SAT and ACT, but we are test optional now and for the next 3 years. So just wanted to put that out there early, as I know some schools have some different policies there. But a little overview of the profile, as I'm sure you can see, we have students just for the class of 2024 from 40 countries and 35 states. So we have a very global campus. We want our students to know that when they come to Babson, they're going to learn from each other's experiences while also getting to teach from their own. So it's something we like to bring into the classroom. We have small class sizes. Our average class is only about 19 students, and we do like to have our students only learning from the professors. We have no teaching assistants or anything like that here at Babson. So as I mentioned a little bit in the beginning, even though we are a business school, we do like to blend our curriculum with liberal arts. We know that businesses today know that knowing how to read, to write, to present are really, really important skills. And those are things that you'll learn within liberal arts. So our students will take 50% of their courses in liberal arts. And then we have 27 concentrations to customize your learning to your career path. So as I mentioned in the beginning, entrepreneurship is something that Babson is really known for, but of course, not every student who goes to Babson has an interest in starting a business. So for students who like business, but not the entrepreneurship component, that's great. That's where you can customize your learning plan with these concentrations. We have things in art, in law. We have students studying fashion, of course, other business pieces like marketing, finance, things like that. And then we also have a partnership with Muhlenberg College of Engineering and Wellesley College. So those open up our curriculum just a little bit more for our students. We are a very hands-on university. We teach our courses through experiential learning, and it's something that's actually required for our students during their freshman year and on. So our first course that we offer for our students during freshman year is Foundations of Management and Entrepreneurship, or FME. And this is a course where students actually start their own business during their freshman year. So we've had students come up with really creative ideas. They go all the way from the idea to pitching it and selling during the end of your second semester and making profit for that business that we donate to charities. So it's a really cool hands-on program that students learn a lot from, whether you are coming up with the business yourself or being involved in some different sections like HR and marketing. Students get that experience there. A few more, we do have a consulting course that students have worked with Dunkin' Donuts and the Boston Red Sox before. We have education abroad programs, different accelerators and incubators on campus that students can use to their advantage. Like, for example, we have the Center for Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership. We have the Cutler Center of Finance. So some different places that students can go and use for their resource there. About 90% of our students had at least one internship while at Babson, many doing more than just one. And here, what we can do on campus. We have 22 Division III varsity programs. We have Greek life, 100 student clubs and organizations, campus events, and we do have faith opportunities right on campus. We have a rabbi on our campus who is an entrepreneur himself. He actually started his own online platform for Jewish learning, and he is on the presidential board of Massachusetts of rabbis. So he's a really great resource on campus. He also is deeming himself as a counselor too. So not just, he is someone that our students can turn to. We have Shabbat dinner every Friday night, and that's something that they did keep up during COVID. So while we couldn't necessarily have the community aspect with singing and meetings there, we had that be a take-home option for our students. We have speakers come to campus during those dinners too, so you can learn from different Jewish entrepreneurs. We have the Babson Hello Club. Many of our students are going on birthright during their time there, so we have a very present Jewish community here at Babson. And then after college, 99% of our students are employed or attending grad school within 6 months of graduation. That was for the class of 2019, but also something that stood true for the class of 2020. So we like our students to know that they're making connections right during their time in undergrad and taking that into the next step. And then affordability. Babson does meet 100% of demonstrated financial need for our students applying through FAFSA and the CSS profile. So this is our contact information. If I can answer any questions for you, I would be happy to. I can put my information in the chat towards the end of these presentations as well. But I'm going to turn it over to the next school. So thank you so much for tuning in and have a great rest of your day.
Great. Thank you so much, Carly. As we're about halfway through our presentations, just a reminder that the Q&A is available should you have any questions for specific institutions or broader ones for all of our panelists. Up next, I'm pleased to introduce Arizona State University.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Brad Barch, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Debbie Yonker-Kale, and we're going to share a little bit about ASU and Jewish student life here at the university. Just so everyone knows, here's our contact information. Feel free to take a snap at this. We'll drop it in the chat a little bit later on. ASU is one of the largest universities in the country, and we want to be judged by who we include, not by who we exclude. And that's the foundation of all of the work that you will see at this university, where a lot of universities will talk about competitive admissions process or selectivity or record numbers of students they denied. That's not how ASU wants to be judged in the world. And so when you come to this campus, you'll be a part of one of the most socioeconomic diverse student populations in the country. The other thing that will happen with ASU is you'll be part of the largest engineering school, the largest business school, one of the largest fine arts programs in the country at a public university. This is spread across 4 campus locations in the Phoenix metropolitan area. ASU is the one research university serving the 5th largest city in the country. This means you as students have access to internship opportunities at Fortune 500 companies, state government opportunities, and a variety of other private businesses. So think about the opportunity to customize your experience here at ASU. It's easy to take a big place like ASU and shrink it down and have this small community. Another thing that we talk a little bit about when our size and the ability to customize it is we have students from every state. This past year, we had our largest class, and we're on track again to have another record-breaking class, both in size, but academic achievement. A lot of schools and universities will talk about their graduation rates. Here at ASU, we want to be judged by how students succeed as well. And so you'll find the number of first-year students that come back for their second year is almost 92%. So even though we're large, we offer a variety of different support services to make sure that you are going to be successful here at ASU. A little bit about admissions. If you meet the requirements, you are admitted to the university. You're not, again, competing for spots. It's based upon your academic achievement. We also award merit-based scholarships on the classes that you've taken and the GPA that you've received in those classes. You can go to our estimator tool and get a pretty transparent estimate of what it's likely going to cost you to attend ASU. With that, I want to turn it over to Debbie to talk a little bit about Jewish student life and Hillel and other opportunities.
Hi, I'm Debbie Yonker-Kale. I'm the Executive Director for Hillel at ASU, and we have a really wonderful partnership with admissions, and so glad to be here today. We do a bunch of different things to outreach to prospective and incoming Jewish students together, and we really see Hillel as adhering to the ASU charter also. So our outlook is what Hillel is also about being measured by who we as Hillel include and not by who we exclude. And we take that very seriously in the diversity of staff and programs that we have. A quick overview of Jewish life at ASU. There's an estimated 3,500 Jewish students on campus, primarily, I will say, at the Tempe and the downtown campuses, although there are some Jewish students at Poly and West. And we do our best to make our rounds and be on all those campuses with weekly events downtown and quite a bit of activity at the Tempe campus. There's a variety of student organizations focused on Israel, Greek life, and general Jewish culture. And so there's lots of opportunities to get involved, meet different types of Jewish students, and exercise your leadership. And there's 2 kosher dining options on campus, in addition to Hillel, which offers kosher food at all of our events. So Hillel offers all these different wonderful things, Jewish social connections, including special first-year programming. We have events, meals, and resources for Shabbat and holidays, whether people want to celebrate in a big group or just want some reflective reading in their residence hall or want home hospitality or to be connected to a local synagogue. We support community connections for jobs, internships, and home hospitality, as I just mentioned. And so we're really take a lot of joy in connecting students to eager Jewish community members who want to help ASU students. We have quite a bit of leadership development and mentorship opportunities. So through our student board and other leadership opportunities, and Hillel is also the only Jewish organization on campus that has a community center that's open every day just to hang out, to come in and out, usually from about 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. We also offer opportunities to explore Phoenix, and we're looking forward to bringing these back after taking a break due to COVID. So whether it's tubing in the Salt River, hiking and camping in the Grand Canyon, or different opportunities like that, we know that it can be a little hard, especially as a first-year student, to get out and explore. We serve as a link to the university for support, be it academic, navigating financial aid, seeking mental health resources, or also just general wraparound support if you're going through a tough time and you need help figuring out how to get the resources you need. Also, if students have any challenges with professors, we're happy to help navigate that. And we have a phenomenal, talented staff here to support you, including a full-time rabbi. And we really are known throughout campus and with students for caring about all parts of students' identity and experience. And I wanted to speak a little bit about Israel. I saw the question in the chat, and I'm going to drop in some articles that speak to that a little further, because I know I don't have a ton of time. But through Hillel, we have our own Israel Center that oversees our Birthright and other leadership trips. We take about 100 students to Israel each year through Birthright and another leadership mission. We offer classes about Israel and about a lot of other Jewish topics as well. We'll also do individualized resources to learn more if students have specific questions about Israel. And we really want to be that safe space to reflect, digest, learn more about current events, particularly with this past week's events. That's certainly something that Hillel does, is just serve as a safe home base. Our student government has passed 2 resolutions recently, one against anti-Semitism and one particularly in support of the Jewish community. And so, while I can't say we're free, at the largest public university in the country, we're going to have some challenges, but overwhelmingly the administration and the student government have been extremely supportive of the Jewish community, and we're really proud to have such tight partnerships. So now I'll drop some stuff in the chat, including my contact info, and pass it on to the next group.
Great, thank you so much, Debbie. Our next presentation today comes to us from the University at Albany.
Hi, everyone. My name is James Curley. I am Senior Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at UAlbany, and I would like to share my screen here. And as I'm sure many of you know, we are one of 64 SUNY schools, state universities of New York, and we are located in Albany, New York. So let me go to the next slide here. Obviously, New York State's capital. And, in addition to being a mid-sized capital city, we are also a big college town. There's 20 colleges and universities here in the capital region. So when college is in session, our population increases by over 65,000. So there's a lot to do here for young adults. From a professional and academic standpoint, we are in a great location for students to partake in research, being that we are a Tier 1 research institution. There are a lot of opportunities for our students. From a professional standpoint, we have plenty of businesses in downtown Albany where our students will get involved in internships and get jobs after graduation. Anyone looking to go into public policy or political science, obviously being in Albany, it's a great location. We have the 3rd largest seat of government for students to get involved in state government internships. And here is a list of all of our majors. We have 9 different colleges or schools in which our majors are made up into. We have 50 different majors. You can see many of them are listed under our College of Arts and Sciences. We're very strong in the sciences. Also, psychology is a very popular major. We do have many minors as well, including Judaic Studies and a Hebrew Studies minor. We have a College of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security, and Cybersecurity, as well as a College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. These 2 colleges joined our institution about, I think, back in 2016, and they've really taken off. Also, our Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy. As I mentioned, Albany is a great location to get involved in these areas. We also do a semester in Washington, D.C. Next is our School of Business. We have 4 majors, as you can see, in our School of Business, which is by far one of our most popular schools on campus. Our School of Criminal Justice is currently ranked number 3 in the country. School of Public Health and School of Social Welfare are also nationally ranked. And finally, our School of Education. Student involvement, it's really one of my favorite things about UAlbany. We're a school of 13,000 undergraduate students, and I always tell prospective students that we have to fill the needs of 13,000 students. So there's so much to do on campus. We have over 300 different clubs and organizations, ranging from different academic clubs to political clubs, community service oriented clubs. We do have Jewish clubs on campus, as well as a Hillel and a Chabad. University of Albany is, out of the 64 SUNY schools, we do have a significant Jewish population. So also you can see here, we have 18 Division I athletic teams. Being at a Division I school, especially a successful Division I athletic school, I will say creates for a really fun atmosphere and school spirit. We've had a lot of success with many of our sports in recent years. And the application process. So there are 2 ways to apply to University of Albany. You can apply on the Common App or the SUNY app, which allows students to apply up to 5 different SUNY schools at once. We have a mid-range GPA of about an 88 to 94, or if you're on a 4.0 scale, about a 3.4 to 3.8. We were test optional this past year, and we should have a decision for this upcoming year soon. A few deadlines to be mindful of. We have a November 15th early action deadline, February 1st regular decision deadline, and then our May 1st deposit deadline. So cost, the SUNY system as a whole is a tremendous value, especially University of Albany. You're going to get a great education at an unbeatable price, especially compared to many schools out there that are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. At UAlbany, being a state institution, our tuition, room and board and fees is a little over $24,000. And for non-New York State residents, it is about $42,000. And that is before any kind of merit-based scholarships or financial aid. All students are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships when they apply to UAlbany. And then we do give significant financial aid as well. Last year, about 80% of our students received some sort of need-based financial aid, with the average award totaling over $11,000. So we are taking we are conducting in-person tours now. We hope that if you get a chance to come visit us, you do so, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Just a reminder for all of our viewers that we will have time for Q&A at the end of the program, so feel free to get those in now. But for now, I'm pleased to introduce Brandeis University.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you, and thank you for joining us. I wanted to begin introducing Brandeis University by actually just going back into our past for just a moment. We were founded in 1948 by the American Jewish community. We were founded as a non-sectarian school, so we weren't formally affiliated with any religious organization, but we did really pull 3 values from the American Jewish community. Those have become kind of institutional values and really drive who we are today and how we approach both the community and the education at Brandeis. And they're the 3 that are on your screen. A reverence for learning. We are a Research 1 institution. There's kind of different tiers of research schools. R1, essentially kind of the largest in terms of the type of research, the dollar amount and scope of that research that's taking place. The average size of an R1 school is 26,000 students. We have just over 3,600 students. So it's actually a really unique spot kind of within the higher ed landscape to be a mid-size R1 university. Cultivation of critical thinking. You will see this in so many different ways at Brandeis. But I think one of the most important is really the blending of academic disciplines. We don't believe that departments and fields exist in silos after graduation, so we don't want them to live in silos while you're a student. Just 2 examples of what I mean by that. One is Professor Sarah Shoshak. She is appointed in our sociology department, our business school, our health, science, society, and policy department, and our environmental science studies major. So those four are pretty different departments, and she's actually teaching courses across those. We also have classes that blend different disciplines. One of our professors, Daniel Brain, teaches a course called Science on Trial. It's about the American legal system's use of science in the trial setting. And that course counts towards legal studies, towards business, as well as for students studying American studies as well. So what that leads to is an institution where just over half of our students have a double major, and even more have multiple minors on top of that. So what does that mean for you, and what does that mean in terms of the cultivation of critical thinking? So if you think about sitting in one of those classes, whether you have multiple majors or minors or not, on average, about half of the people around you do. So they're bringing those different fields and different ways of thinking into that classroom each and every time you step into that discussion and into that dialogue. So I think that's really one of the great examples of what it means to cultivate critical thinking. And then the third is a commitment to repairing the world. Two pieces of this. One is, while you're a current Brandeis student, we have the Waltham Group. That's our umbrella organization for community service on campus. And each year our students typically do about 60,000 hours of community service. And actually this year, the final number's not quite in, but they're on track to hit that, even in the midst of such a unique learning and residential year for our campus. But the second piece, and really at the heart of these values, is these aren't something that should stop as soon as you leave the Brandeis community. So pulling this forward and thinking about that commitment to repairing the world across your career. Brandeis students were named number 7 in the nation of Brandeis alums for impact. So the type of work that they're doing after graduation. I mentioned earlier that about 54% of our students double major. We have 44 majors and just over 50 minors. There's also the Brandeis core, really the heart of being a Research One liberal arts institution. And this doesn't name specific courses. We have different concepts and ideas that we want to make sure your classes will touch upon. It's one of the ways that those double majors become so possible, in addition to that cross-listing. But we want you to take classes that revolve around questions of diversity, equity, and inclusion, health and mental well-being, quantitative reasoning, but there's no single department that teaches any of those different areas. So it really lets you explore the different disciplines and areas of the university. In addition to that, there's also something for first-year students called critical conversations. And this is really where faculty will come with sort of their area of expertise and give lectures around a theme each year. So this year's theme has been identity. So faculty from computer science, from neuroscience, from English have come and given talks about identity through their field of expertise. And it's a really neat way to get to know more faculty on campus, in addition to the ones that you have in the classroom. Finally, looking at the admission and financial aid aspect of the university. We have early decision and regular decision. So two different options, just depending on where your interest falls with Brandeis. Regardless of when you apply or how you apply, you are considered for all of the different merit scholarships that we have. But more importantly, whichever deadline you choose for your admission, that is the same deadline for need-based financial aid. We look at the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, and the CSS profile done through College Board. And with those two documents, Brandeis is committed to fully funding every student with no caveats, domestic, international, out of status students, any student that we are admitting to the university, we will meet the full calculated need of those admitted students. That's part of kind of our commitment to the student body and commitment to the social justice mission of the university. But with that, Owen, I will turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our presenters for sharing your institutions with us. We do have a few moments remaining in the webinar, so we'll bring all of our presenters back for Q&A. And there's been some great kind of specific questions in the Q&A, so keep those coming if you have questions about specific institutions. But we will kind of start with a broader one that is a common question of many prospective students, and that would be what your favorite kind of event or tradition, something really kind of noteworthy about your campus would be. And we can go in the same order as our initial presentation. So Melissa, if you wouldn't mind leading us off.
So one of the traditions that we actually have at Muhlenberg is a bookend tradition where first year students, when they arrive, write a letter to their future selves that they actually receive. In fact, the class of 2020 literally just received it yesterday from themselves, where they have the opportunity to sort of reflect on their growth and sort of what's transpired over the last 4 years. And sometimes they even give themselves money 4 years in advance, but nonetheless, most of the time it's really the reflective piece of it for sure.
The big thing at Hebrew U is the hike that we take from sea to sea. So basically going across the country, and it's usually done in the spring, and it's a beautiful time to kind of go and see the land. It's part of the program, it's an option, but I would say the vast majority of our students choose to take that opportunity.
Great. One of my favorite things about Babson, one of our traditions, is we do spring day. So in the spring, towards the last day of classes, they actually will take the students into Boston, and they've done different things like go to a Red Sox game, or they've rented out the House of Blues before and put on a private concert. So it's just a really fun day to get ready for the summer and the last few weeks with your classmates.
One of the things that I've thought was really cool is there's a mountain, or a little hill called A Mountain here, and first year students go and paint it every year and hike up it, and it really like kind of builds that student connection because everybody does it, and it also helps students explore campus in a group, which I think is really important because this is not a small campus. It is not physically small or geographically small, and so just being able to check out different parts of campus together with your new friends is really valuable.
At University of Albany, one of my favorite things is our welcome candle lighting ceremony. So each fall on the students' first nights, they have a welcome address from our president with a welcome candlelight ceremony, welcoming new students to campus. And the night is highlighted by the lighting of the University Flame of Knowledge and a fireworks display.
My favorite things at Brandeis is we have an annual event called Dice Impact. It's kind of our celebration of social justice on campus, where students, academic departments, faculty, alums, staff all come out and kind of champion the causes that they're interested in, educating the broader community.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing those events and traditions with us. We have just a few moments remaining. So for anyone who wants to, we don't need a specific order or anything, but recognizing that there's many students kind of earlier in their college search who are tuned into this webinar, any pieces of advice or tips that you would give them about kind of starting the college search? And feel free to just unmute yourself.
I'll jump really quick. This is such an individualized process. So make sure that you're developing your college list for you as a student and not comparing it to what your friends and other family members have done through their college journey. So keep it personal, and then that way you'll find the best fit school for you out there, and don't get caught up in all the hype and anxiety that exists in the media about this process.
I would say a piece of advice, and is one that you've already taken the first step and started, is being here today. Use this time, especially the next summer months, to really research as many schools as you can, and then try to narrow down your list to whatever amount of schools you feel comfortable with for the fall. I mean, I typically recommend 5, but if it's it's going to vary among students. But definitely use the summer months to explore different colleges.
I would say keep your mind open. I really had never even heard of ASU until I applied to work at the Hillel here, even though it's a huge school, and whether that's looking at a big school when you thought you wanted a small, or a small when you thought it a big, or different parts of the country, keep your mind open. And I would also really encourage you to check out the Hillel, no matter how much you think you will or won't be involved, because even if you're just going through a challenging time or it's a holiday, it's really good for you to know what kind of resources exist. And you can tell a lot by a Hillel, even just by how they respond to your inquiry.
That's great advice. Thank you to everyone for sharing that. And thank you to all of our viewers for joining us for this webinar. At the conclusion of it, you'll be prompted with a brief 4-question survey, and we would appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, just a reminder that there's another session of presentations happening right after this one, so be sure to go register for those. And all sessions are being recorded and will be posted in about a week's time at the same website where you registered for this one. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.